Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading this morning from Canto 1, Chapter 2, number 6. 1, 2, 6. Narayanam namaskritya. Narayanam namaskritya. Naram chaiva narottamam. Naram chaiva narottamam. Devim saraswatim vyasam. Devim saraswatim vyasam. Tojayam udirayat. Tojayam udirayat. Savai pungsam parodharmo. Savai pungsam parodharmo. Yato bhaktir hokshaje. Yato bhaktir hokshaje. Ahaitukiya pratiyata. Ahaitukiya pratiyata. Yayatma suprasidati. Yayatma suprasidati. Savai pungsam parodharmo. Savai pungsam parodharmo. Yato bhaktir hokshaje. Yato bhaktir hokshaje. Ahaitukiya pratiyata. Ahaitukiya pratiyata. Yayatma suprasidati. Yayatma suprasidati. The supreme occupation, dharma, for all humanity is that by which men can attain to loving devotional service unto the transcendent Lord. Such devotional service must be unmotivated and uninterrupted to completely satisfy the self. In this statement, Sri Sutta Goswami answers the first question the sages behind the Puranas. The sages asked him to summarize the whole range of the revealed scriptures and present the most essential part so that fallen people or the people in general might easily take it up. Vedas prescribe two different types of occupation for the human being. One is called pravriti marg, the path of sense enjoyment, and the other is called nivriti marg, the path of renunciation. The path of enjoyment is inferior, and the path of sacrifice for the supreme cause is superior. The material existence of a living being is a diseased condition. Actual life. Actual life is spiritual existence or Brahmabhuta existence, where life is eternal, blissful, and full of knowledge. Material existence is temporary, illusory, and full of miseries. There is no happiness at all. There is just a futile attempt to get rid of miseries. The temporary sensation of misery is falsely called happiness. Therefore, the path of progressive material enjoyment, which is temporary, miserable, and illusory, is inferior. But devotional service to the Supreme Lord, which leads one to eternal, blissful, and all-cognizant life, is called the superior quality of occupation. This is sometimes polluted when mixed with the inferior quality. For example, adoption of devotional service for material gain is certainly an obstruction to the progressive path of renunciation. Renunciation or abnegation for ultimate good is certainly a better occupation than enjoyment in the diseased condition of life. Such enjoyment only aggravates the symptoms of disease and increases the duration. Therefore, devotional service to the Lord must be pure in quality, that is, without the least desire for material enjoyment. One should, therefore, accept the superior quality of occupation in the form of devotional service to the Lord without any tinge of unnecessary desire, intuitive happiness, and philosophical speculation. This alone can lead one to perpetual solace and good service. We have purposefully because the root meaning of the word dharma is that which sustains one's existence. A living being's sustenance of existence is to coordinate his activities with his eternal relation with the Supreme Lord Krishna. Krishna is the central pivot of living being, and he is the all-attractive living entity or eternal form amongst all other living beings or eternal forms. Each and every living being has his eternal form in the spiritual existence. Krishna is the eternal attraction for all of men. Krishna is the complete whole, and everything else is his part and parcel. Relation is one of the servant and the served. It is transcendental and completely distinct from our experience in material existence. This relation of servant and the served is the most congenial form of intimacy. One can realize it as devotional service progresses. Everyone should engage himself in that transcendental loving service of the Lord, even in the present condition or state of material existence, that will gradually give one the clue to actually like and please him. Pungsam paro dharmo bhakti bhakti Aitaki pratihata jayatma siddhi. The supreme occupation, dharma, for all humanity is that by which men can attain loving devotional service unto the transcendent. Such devotional service must be unmotivated and uninterrupted to complete ecstatic.
Online people.
Okay, online people. The format of most scriptures, Bhagavatam included, is the format of questions, answers. And in this case, the beginning is the sages in the forest of Naimisharanya, headed by Shaunaka, asking questions of Sutta, because Sutta has a very special qualification. He heard Srimad Bhagavatam spoken directly. He was in the audience when Maharaj Pariksit heard Srimad Bhagavatam from Shukadev. He heard also. And now the sages want to hear second time around. And the format is questions, answers. And so the sages are asked, the principle is that 6 questions at the beginning. And the first of those 6 questions is the entire range of all the Vedas. People of this age of Kali will have difficulty understanding the essence, so can you please provide the essence, the most important essence of the entire range of the Vedas, please? Very straightforward question, very simple answer. And focus in the purport goes to the word dharma, because that's a question in human society. It should be a question in human society. What's one's duty
because dharma is often thought of as religious duty. Nothing wrong with thinking of it as religious duty, but duty towards what, or what's the purpose of that duty? What is the essence of dharma, para-dharma? And so the duty, we're being told in this verse, is that which leads to transcendent service unto the direct service unto the transcendent Lord. So in one sense, paradharma doesn't lead to, but it is. Paradharma is direct service. One's occupation, or that which sustains one's existence, is service to the Supreme Lord. Let's step back and say this as Prabhupada has described. Everyone, the souls are active. We're in the material field. We're marginal energy. So the tendency is to interact with the material nature, and material existence is provided, a material body through which one can act through senses, is to find sense enjoyment, or enjoyment apart from the Supreme. And therefore, one type of dharma is to do that progressively. Pravritti. Progressive material enjoyment. Higher, 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 higher. Which is, higher means modes of nature. So living in conformity with the Vedas, submission unto, you look up and you see the Vedas. And the Vedas are teaching you how you can fulfill your desires while progressing, looking up to the Supreme, because Yagyavai Vishnu, the sacrifice is the satisfaction of Vishnu. So do your thing, do your occupational duty in such a way that that is achieved, direct satisfaction. And then higher, 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 higher. So higher planetary systems and above heaven, etc., other planetary systems, and attaining the Supreme, where the direct devotional service to the Supreme is the objective of pravritti. But there's the path to get to that higher stage, and that's the inferior category of the message of the Vedas, because it's certainly the preponderance of teaching within the Vedas, and the followers of the Vedas do that. And abundant description of the performance of sacrifice for Vishnu to attain something material, or sacrifice unto one representative of Vishnu, one Deva or Devi or combination, to attain something material, the fulfillment of material desire. The Vedas teach, one of the vast section of the Vedas is to teach that pravritti. But without satisfaction of Vishnu, it stays 100% on the material platform. So the worshippers of Devas or Devis without acknowledgement of the personality of Godhead is 10% material. It's not pravritti. It's material. And pravritti is attainment of Vishnu while seeing that my desires in this realm are met or fulfilled. And the way the Prabhupada has structured the purport, that's inferior compared to the superior. And the superior is that occupation or dharma which directly abdicates the material portion and focuses on, makes the intention behind the activity the satisfaction of the Supreme. No. Then there's a whole big range. Let's take Dhruva, for example. He wanted something material, big times, something material. Not only a kingdom better than his father, but it's better than his father's father and better than his father's father's father. So there, I'll show my stepmother. And that was his purpose. Material. Kingdom. And get back. Show his stepmother. I'll show you. It's a Kshatriya spirit. And he was challenged, and he met the challenge. But he went to Vishnu because that's what his mother said. How to get this kingdom? Vishnu alone can give you what you want. Great. How do I find Vishnu? So he did what he did. Narada tried to dissuade him. He couldn't be dissuaded, and so he did something very difficult, but with such focus that very swiftly Lord Vishnu came. And the rest we know. So that's it. The standard is material motivation in worship of Vishnu. And that is different than material motivation in worship of the devas and devis. That's the inferior grade. But the occupation, so in his case, there's a nice verse in Bhagavad Gita. There are many nice verses. One of those verses that says even the higher stages of consciousness, these three things, tapa, vrata, and dana, are never to be given up. So he didn't give up tapa, he did it to the max. And his vrata, very intent in his vow. And he wasn't in the position to give dana until he got the kingdom that he wanted. Then he not only he ruled as the successor to his father, but then Dhruvaloka. So then he's in a position to be charitable. So those principles are for the satisfaction of Vishnu, and any ritual or any Vedic activity must have Vishnu at the center, and then these three things are part of the outcome and the means to get there. Satisfaction of Vishnu, charity for the satisfaction of Vishnu, not charity for this because some persons do it differently. I'll give charity because I'll get back 10 times. And knowingly or unknowingly, sometimes it's knowingly, and sometimes it's unknowingly. It's just what you do. But what's the inspiration or motivation? I'll get some pious credits. So pious people want pious credits, and there's when you get your pious credit slip, what do you do with it? You cash it in, and you go to a higher position for enjoyment in this life and or in the next life. And it's certain. An investment that you don't lose. Or it's although it's temporary, so you lose it, but it's not dissipated by misfortune. It's a guaranteed asset. Oh, nivriti pravriti. So the pravriti is recommended in the purport here. This is the higher position of the Vedas, because the question was the Vedas are vast. People in this age of Kali aren't going to understand. Please provide us with the essence so that people can understand. So that which leads to Shuddha Bhakti, or that which leads to Paradharma. That's the Paradharma. It leads to pure devotional service. Yato bhaktir adhoksaje. The devotional service unto the transcendent Lord, adhoksaja, he who's beyond the senses. We'll just spend a little bit of time with that concept. I find it's a fascinating concept. Devotional service means engaging the senses in the service of the master of the senses, Rishiki and Rishikesha Sevanam. But that master of the senses is Adhoksaja. He's beyond the senses. At least beyond the senses to perceive. And so we're supposed to serve, the instruction is, serve he who's beyond the senses, who you can't see with the senses, with the senses. So that means, it's not like close your eyes and run, but with faith. And where does the faith arise from? It arises from hearing. And when hearing from the right source, then that which is already inside, a relationship with the personality of Godhead, and faith in that relationship with the personality of Godhead, is stimulated by sound, by hearing and chanting activities. It's the beginning of devotional service. Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu Smaranam. That's how devotional service begins. And that's what's going on here. The sages are speaking. Sutta is answering. Engaging the senses in the service of the master of the senses, who the senses can't perceive. The material senses cannot perceive. Adhoksaja. And then there are qualifiers, haitaki and pratyata. So you all know the meanings of these words. Without material cause and without material interruption. Hetu. And then ahetu. Hetu means cause, and ahetu with no material cause. There's a spiritual cause, and that's make that connection with the Supreme. It's not desirelessness, but purified desire. Purified desire is causeless. There's no material cause. There's a spiritual cause, connecting with the Supreme. And that's Dharma, or Paradharma. Ahoitaki apratiyata. Unbroken. Apratiyata, or uninterrupted. There's nothing material that can start, there's nothing material that can stop. Pure devotional service. There may be something material that can start, there may be something material that can stop, but that's not pure devotional service. Like Dhruva, he wanted. He had a material want. And his mother said, so he found out from Narada how to find Vishnu in the forest. And sure enough, he found Vishnu in the forest. So, pure devotional service is when he's on the other end. So, the supreme occupation is that which leads to causeless devotional service. Although initially there may be some cause. Generally there is some cause. Somebody wants something because we're conditioned souls, we have desire, we want something. But a mark of pure devotional service is when that is surpassed by the medium of devotional service. And therefore that's the translation here. The supreme occupation of all humanity is that by which men can attain to loving service unto the transcendental Lord. Such devotional service must be unmotivated and uninterrupted to completely satisfy the self. So one may feel oneself not completely satisfied. It's probably most of us, if we're honest. And then complete satisfaction of the self, that sounds material. But that's not what satisfaction is. It's a material definition of what satisfaction is. The material definition of what satisfaction is: senses meet sense object. Satisfaction. But that's not satisfaction. Because that moment is over, and then comes another dissatisfaction, unfulfilled desire, and then the whole stream of material existence is. So how to terminate that stream of material desire? And there's the negation method, and then there's the purification method. The purification method is to bring that desire that's material to the position of no more material, or purified. That is, only one thing. Vishnu or Krishna is to be pleased. And is that attainable? Yes, it's attainable. The stage of pure devotional service is attainable by the practice of devotional service with proper guidance, and then submission to that proper guidance. This relation of the servant and the served is the most congenial form of intimacy. That's Atma Suprasidati. Is that your phone? Your phone? Most congenial form of intimacy, the servant and the served. Now, the platform, two things, and I'm going to end. The platform of bhakti has as its foundation the servant and the served. That is to say, there are 5 rasas, but 4 rasas are honored by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, starting with Dasya rasa, the servitude position. Because in the position of neutrality, the mood of service is absent. And the mood of service being absent, it's not appealing. So the intimacy is missing. So the most congenial form of intimacy is the position of being the servant. And then there's further rasas that are built upon or added to the dasya: friendship, parental, and conjugal. So there's service, 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 service in all 4, but the foundation is the service. And therefore, Das or Dasi were servants of, and then by some name, Krishna name or Radha's name or devotional quality name or something, because that's the aspiration, or the essence. That's even better. The essence is that this congenial form of intimacy, bhakti rasa. The term, the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, the term Krishna Consciousness comes from a verse found in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu by Rupa Goswami, where it's a definition of what bhakti rasa is. So bhakti rasa equals Krishna consciousness. Krishna consciousness equals bhakti rasa. It's a taste, rasa. And the taste of the most congenial form of intimacy. That's the awakening of an inspiration to serve is because of that rasa. The served and the servitor, wishing the happiness of the served, and that's dasya. And then there can be mixed. but the mix doesn't bring satisfaction to the self, nor full satisfaction to the Supreme. It's nice. It's nice. So the many, many, many sadhakas that are not yet purified, Krishna recognizes the service that such sadhakas render. And at the same time, the encouragement in external and internal encouragement to come to the stage where there's only one thing, and that's the service. Dhruva attained it. There's many, scriptural examples of those that are situated in that pure mood of this Prahlad Maharaj. That the master is to be served. There's nothing else. I'm the servant. You're the master. You are to be pleased. And there's nothing else. Thank you. A corollary is to serve those who are so situated, to serve the servant of the Supreme. And there's that congenial form of intimacy also, which is even more pleasing to Krishna than one who is situated like that in direct method of service because of their spiritual quality and their spiritual attainment. To serve the servants. That's just unpacking. This is just the first part of the instruction in chapter 2, but extend that and it's included, because the purpose is to satisfy the Supreme, and the Supreme is satisfied when those who are intimately serve him are served. He's very satisfied. So the satisfaction of the Supreme Lord is achieved by serving those who are intimately connected in service to the Supreme. And that's our way of life. That's the Bhagavatam's teaching. The Bhagavatam's teaching is presenting this bhakti rasa, or the most congenial form of intimacy, or the real happiness, the Atma Suprasidati. Atma Suprasidati. The satisfaction, complete satisfaction within the self. Suprasidati. There's prasana and there's suprasana. And Atma Suprasana, complete satisfaction of the self, where there's no motivation and nothing that can check it, nothing that can interrupt it. And we get tests along the way, to see if we want something, or something can interrupt our flow of devotional service. Pass the test is continue despite, the circumstance. Positive or negative. Okay, so there's a little summary of 1 to 6, and tomorrow somewhere we're going to do, Monday? What? Monday. Yeah. So this is it. Haribol. Any comments or questions? Chari has a comment or a question.
Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj. I was thinking about this Varna Ashram. Because here in this purport it talks about Pravarti Marg and Nivarti Marg. So when one is in any one of the Varna and in any one of the ashram, so they have their prescribed duty for that ashram. When they are follow that standard, is that come under Pravarti Marg? Or because Pravarti Marg, it says, is a path of self-enjoyment, is an enjoyment, and Nivarti Marg, it says like path of renunciation. So that's my first part 1 of my question, Maharaj.
And my answer is it depends. And to expand on that short answer, is it possible that one can be an observer of Varnashram and not be Krishna conscious? Or conversely, is it possible one can be observer of Varnashram and be fully Krishna conscious? Both ends of the spectrum, the answer is yes.
So when someone follows Varnashram and have the intention that's submitting everything to with a Krishna conscious mind, then that is a
then
different.
that's pure.
Pure. Okay. So
Like Prabhupada was a sannyasi. He set the example. He followed the standard. When he was grahast, he followed the standard, etc.
so that is a pure.
Or Ambarish Maharaj, we have scriptural examples. As a king who, he was Kshatriya. Aside from the ashram, he had the Varna. And he did his duty in full Krishna consciousness. And is it possible to do one's duty not in, yeah. Okay?
Sure, Maharaj. So my
So the answer to your question is it depends on what's behind
the intention.
the activity can be defined by the external or the internal. So the external, when we can say he's the follower of Varnashram. And the internal is he's Krishna conscious or not.
So because most of the population, we can say the humans, cannot be in the renunciation part side, like in that
No,
ashram.
that's not true. They can be directionally. They may not be presently situated, but they can be directionally situated. Reduce the material progressively. That's the path of renunciation from whatever the ashram or whatever the position is.
So that's what my second part of my question is, like, if one is in Pravati Marg, so they have to slowly move into the Nivarti Marg because it takes time at the end of their life.
By purification and association, both. By purification and association. One can. If done properly, one will. Because what's the purpose of the Vedas? To know Krishna. And is it possible to know Krishna when one has material affinity? Not possible. You can, can you see the sun in the darkness of night? It's there, it's shining. You can't see. So, a follower, but you're just pursuing the same answer. If one who's a follower of the Vedas, very good. And the follower of the Vedas, there's these two categories. But that one of the two leads to the second. The lower grade leads to the higher grade, under proper guidance and direction. One who has an affinity for progressive material enjoyment can overcome that affinity for progressive material enjoyment by following the Vedas.
Sure, Maharaj.
Okay.
So, but most of us, when we come to the spiritual path, take spiritual path, and try to understand the philosophy, and then follow all that. So that is also takes much time.
Yeah.
So you never know whether we'll come to that Nivarti Marg stage, because we have
those of us in the Hare Krishna movement were situated in the Nivriti Marg path already. From the get-go. By the instruction. It's not that you have, that a beginner, total neophyte, is free from material desire, but one who accepts sadhana bhakti per Lord Chaitanya It's on the they're on the nivritti path. Whatever their ashram and whatever their varna is, they're on the path of progressive spiritualization and diminishing material already from the very, very beginning. Okay?
Sure.
By association, by teaching. Now their heart may not be oriented like that, and then they're not really situated as they're kind of checking it out kind of space. But one who's a participant, that they're brought to the nivritti path.
Thank you.
Okay. Someone else in the back.
Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj. This is a question from Lal Gopal Prabhu. Prabhu's question is, Dhruva was upset that he did not get the love and support that he deserved from his father, but then we hear that he wished to become greater than his father, forefather, etc. That does not address the actual issue. How do we understand this, Maharaj?
The actual issue? What's the actual issue? The actual issue, it was on the material platform. He was insulted. Explicitly. Not only you can't sit on the lap of your father, you're the eldest son. You can't sit on the lap of your father. You can't sit on the throne of your father. You're the elder son. You're entitled to sit on the throne of your father. You can't sit on the throne of your father. You can't sit on the lap of your father. Get down. He was insulted. Purposely. So that's the dynamic of what happened. And then, he was like a little boy, Kshatriya, spirited little boy, and he was ready to, do combat. He started crying and went to his, but so, what hit the fuel in his tank was, get back. I'll show her. And so I'm not sure, based upon the context, I'm not sure what his question is. Maybe he can send in some clarification of his question, because it's not clear to me. Someone else? Yes.
I just wanted to extend on this one. So trying to understand for myself, like we as a human being, like for me, I have a need to be loved by someone like my father or by somebody.
Naturally.
But when then that doesn't get fulfilled, I am taking a route of to be anger or revenge or trying to fulfill that need vacuum by something else. So how should I correct myself in that regard?
It depends. No, there are modalities of correcting oneself. And then there's the higher road. The higher road is purification of that desire. So recognize the need, and then supposing I find something that's not, on the spiritual side. I find someone or something or something. And it's temporary, because it's not the real thing. So there are modalities. I mean, here's an example. I travel in airplanes, kind of frequently, and a thing of late is a service dog. So what's a service dog? Well, for people that are feeling lonely, it's a thing. It's a modality of finding a place of shelter. Is this little service dog. And generally they're small, at least the ones that go on the planes. They're the smaller size. So they're not all small, but so it's a thing. Find it a shelter where something is my shelter, and I feel some security in that temporary not real shelter place. But it's something that worked for some people for a little while until the dog's gone, and then they're sad, etc. So, what to do? For you, because it's your question, a place where, even that circumstances are temporary, there's something that's wholesome and genuine, and therefore, and behind that something that's wholesome and genuine, I see Krishna. That person or thing is representing Krishna. And then otherwise one can build a sandcastle by the sea, and then the tide comes and it's all washed away, and it's not... temporarily I might feel some solace. That need it's a genuine need. There's nothing wrong with that need. Then how to purify and spiritualize it. So that's my answer is, it depends on the modality that you feel capable of sustaining. An ideal is to select something that leads to, that's what this verse is, something that leads to unmotivated and uninterrupted connection with that Hokshaja, who's beyond the senses to perceive, but that's within that structure that I find, you or any one of us may find that need. It's a need. It's on the spiritual platform need. Not to love and be loved. It's completely natural. It's not to be eliminated. You can't eliminate it anyways. So that which is Krishna or representatives of Krishna, personalities that are wholesome, reliable, and genuine, and not the other kind. They look like, but it's flaky, it's flimsy, it's not substantial. And one who gets that opportunity, that's mercy. And then slowly, because we're it's good to progress slowly because we're accustomed to the misery, looking for a solution to the misery by manipulation of circumstance. That's not how you get free from misery. You have to be connected to something real. So then proceed slowly and carefully, thoughtfully, purposefully. And ultimately that means that connection with Krishna. And connection with Krishna means connection with those connected with Krishna, that are genuinely connected to Krishna. Okay. That's the place of shelter. And the fulfillment of that need. Something else?
Hare Krishna Maharaj. This question is by Anusha Buddharapu. She asked, Guru Maharaj, why is the word paradharma, which is sublime, used here? The highest dharma is devotional service, but wondering why sublime word is used here. Any significance to this?
Well, the significance is they're non-different. Sublime is pure devotional service. Paradharma is sublime. Or even that which leads to pure devotional service. That's sublime. The sadhana that leads to sadhya is sublime. There may be some bumps in the road, but for the sadhaka, but I'm heading for the sadhya. I'm heading for the goal, and I'm feeling very enthusiastic. to reach the goal. Not just, to get the misery behind me and go into the light, but the path is sublime. The path of bhakti, even the practicing stage, is sublime. Provided it's that which leads to. The reason for making this distinction is there are persons who are not acquainted with what Shuddha Bhakti is. They're doing bhakti, and their method is mixed from the very beginning. Their method is mixed. There's a lot of people out there. Their method is mixed, and they're content with the mixed. They're feeling that they're not, the Atma Suprasaditi isn't attained, but that's it. Millions and millions and millions of people that have their, and the heading of Hindu, and they'll go to a Vishnu temple, but they'll as easily go to a this, that one, the other one temple, because that's what Hindus do. So it's not that the purpose is misdirected because of their training and their association and so forth. But Vishnu's there, ultimately, even in that mixed position, Vishnu's there. Otherwise, it doesn't lead to elevation. We'll say it the other way. When Vishnu is there someplace, it leads to elevation. Say it negatively. Without Vishnu there, it doesn't lead to elevation. It leads to a material position. Higher or lower. You have something?
Some thoughts evolved with the part of vacuum or a human need that sits in the heart of a conditioned soul. And further, when you were just speaking, Maharaj, about the mixed, one being satisfied with the mixed offering or mixed bhakti, I'm probably not clear with my question, but I just wanted to express that at many times the experience is nothing short of some level of even pure devotional service actually fills the vacuum in the heart of a living entity.
Well, I'm not really sure what you're stating, but I think I understand what you're stating. There are. We'll go back to the large number of people. I mean, there's a much larger number of people that are unregulated altogether. But those that are regulated and have some affinity for Vedic ways, they're not discerning. They don't have teachings and teachers and gurus and scriptures that have helped them to understand Shuddha Bhakti. So they're happy, but they're not fulfilled. They're directionally becoming purified, but not and thus content with being directionally purified. But the Atma Suprasaditi isn't achieved yet without proper direct teaching and teachers and the method. So they won't know in this lifetime or any apparently number of lifetimes of living like that. They may go up to a heavenly position or something by that piety. They're awarded that material upgrade. But Shuddha Bhakti requires the right teachers and teachings and cultivation. That's what this verse in a succinct measure is saying. So those persons that are feeling satisfied with less than pure, there's not real satisfaction. It's a comparative contentment, like that being conditioned by the mode of goodness, for example. There's a happiness in the mode of goodness, but it's not material, it's not spiritual. Does that touch your question?
Yes, and may I express something?
Yeah.
So, coming from there to myself, it feels like being mixed has become a habit.
Being what?
Being mixed.
Yeah.
And yet, because of the fortune or mercy, there is some level of taste for not being mixed.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
then,
that's the pinch in the heart that says
yeah,
what you're expressing.
it's like
I'm stuck. I'm in this space that I know it's mixed, and I don't have the inspiration to go beyond mixed, and I'm kicking myself. I'm feeling dissatisfied being mixed.
And at times I feel satisfied being dissatisfied with the mix.
Yeah, we're conditioned.
So I guess it's probably not. It's probably an expression that.
Yes, and association with those that are similar to you, and ideally those or a lot more advanced than you. So sadhu sangha, bhajana kriya, anartha nivritti. So the formula is there. And it takes, how long is it going to take? Depends. And how well we apply ourselves to the progressive stages. What you expressed is, if there are many devotees that know that feeling that you expressed. And then, some of those devotees are just like, that's it. That's where I am. And let me just continue faithfully with where I am, which is fine. But it's not perfection. It's not that it doesn't take you to where you want to be. So then comes hearing with greater attention and applying what you've heard and the persons from whom you've heard and going further and going further. Now, Prabhupada, when he would speak on this point that you're bringing up, he didn't dwell on it like we're doing. He just did it, one sentence. And then if one is fortunate, one can pick up on what that one sentence says and unpack it and do it. And here we are, just the first of these answers, and it's right there. And then there's further and further and further. The 9th canto of the Bhagavatam comes before the 10th canto of the Bhagavatam. And the 9th canto of the Bhagavatam, Prabhupada gave it a title, Liberation. And there's the liberation from what? Liberation from the mixed. Attaining supreme. And then the subtitle, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, because I just was going through this, preparing for the next class for the Chinese devotees on this topic. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says the 9th canto is teaching the ways of detachment through knowledge, vairagya, and bhakti. And the bhakti ties it all together. But knowledge can lead to liberation from the entanglement. Vairagya that comes as a result of knowledge can lead one to going away from the entanglement. But it's not complete, because when it's complete, it's bhakti. And when it's complete, then that's liberation from the mixed. Because elevated personalities that are described in the 9th canto, they're very elevated. Without the whole story, but they're elevated sons of Vaivasvata Manu, and they're different categories of mixed, and how some of them became freed from the mix. So it doesn't elaborate. It's different age as well, but for us, it's the principle that still applies, and that is the preliminary to entering properly entering into the 10th canto, Krishna Katha. And the 9th canto is purifying. We don't skip it. We go through the first 9 cantos. We go through all the processes to give us proper foundation for the unmixed. Okay. I think I'm going to end. Srila Prabhupada ki.